Hello everyone, Mark here, Mark's Max Muscle, and do we have a special feature for you guys and gals today? I have created the ultimate bodybuilder, and I basically stuck with guys from say 2000 and on, and I kept Ronnie the King Coleman out of this one because perhaps we will do a comparison in the future. And also, I kept the 90s guys out of this one because I want to do the same thing with the 1990s bodybuilders. Create an ultimate bodybuilder from the 1990s. But without further ado, guys, take a look at the front double bicep pose. The ultimate bodybuilder. Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. I don't think any bodybuilder in the history could touch this pose, and I was a little bit disingenuous. I'll explain in a second. Now, for the face, the handsome face, we used Andrew Obake, Andrew Jacked, of course, big man's chest. That's why I used his face. It's easier that way. It makes it more natural. Used his lats as well, believe it or not. And it was from the Tampa Pro. That was the best Andrew Jacked. Now, in terms of arms, I used Rolly the Beast Winkler. And he provided the triceps and the forearms. But the biceps belong, I'll be honest, to Arnold Schwarzenegger. I used a guy from the 70s, for goodness sakes. So this pose, not so much 2000 and on, so a little bit disingenuous there, guys. I'm sorry. Midsection belongs to Hattie Shupin. Pretty good abs on the Hads, man. Lower half, Rubiel Mosquera provided the quads, but lack of separation, he needed the help of one Jay Cutler. And Jay's might not have been as big, but I think the quality was there. I think absolutely the quality of Jay's legs would be better than Rubiel's, but having said that, it's a good combination of the two. Good combination of the two that provide the quads. And the calves, they belong to Eric Frankhauser, like Doogie Howser, MD. You guys remember that TV show? Wow. If you do, yeah, you're probably around my age. But that's the front double bicep pose, lads and lattices. Take it for what it is. I'll be honest, not my favorite compilation, not my favorite Frankenstein picture pose. Now, on to the front double or the front lat spread, rather. A little excited over this one, guys. Da 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 da. This is a Frankenstein front lat spread. Holy old Toledo 11. Channel 56 in Detroit. This is Big Rammy, who provided the gleaming chrome smile, the big man's face. And as you can see from this 2015 Big Rammy front lat spread, pretty much the template for the entire pose. Pretty undefeatable, obviously. The lats, the arms actually look very good. I switched up the torso heap. I threw an Andrew Jacked. His chest looked pretty good. His abs looked very good as well. And the wheels, back to Big Rammy, of course. Just the quads, the outer quad sweeps. I used the teardrops of Hattie Shupin. How about that? And good old Eric Frankhauser. Just like Doogie Howser, MD, like I said, he provided the calves once again. So that's the front lat spread. I feel that it's a little bit better than the front double. Not bad, not bad. Now we go into the side shots. Side chest. Again, not my favorite. I like the front lat spread so far out of the three that we've seen. You can see Johnny O. Jackson displayed proudly. I'm sure he'd be happy to be involved in a video like this. Biggest traps you will ever see. So I used his face as well. Now, in terms of the arms, and I do mean total arm development, delts, biceps, triceps, forearms, even the hands, for goodness sakes, belong to the gift, Phil Heath. Maybe perhaps the best arms in the history of bodybuilding, aside from maybe the King. That'll be an exciting comparison, I do hope to do, between this ultimate bodybuilder and the King. The big man's chest belongs to Günther Schlierkamp, not Gunther, it's Günther. Got to speak like the Germans. His big man's chest is very impressive. Gives it that old school look about the physique. Midsection, Brandon Curry. Not too many dudes from the side here looked quite so peeled. And, yeah, awesome, awesome. And the lower half, Rubiel, once again. I mean, those quads. The separation from the side, very impressive. Phil the Gift Heath once again gets his name thrown out here for the hamstrings and the glutes. I do not believe that Rubiel had quite the impact in the glutes hamstrings that Phil the Gift Heath. So this is a perfect. And of course, Eric Frankhauser again for the calves. Nobody even come close to this guy. Very impressive. So that is your side chest. Actually, the side chest, not bad. Not bad. And now, the other side shot, the side tricep. And I can hear you guys now, but Mark's Max Muscle, I cannot see the obliques. That is one thing that I do. I wish I had added more obliques into this. But realistically, I don't see anybody in the history of bodybuilding beating this enhanced version of Andrew Jacked in the side tricep. Andrew Jacked, not the most powerful guy. I was going to say pungent again, but you guys told me that means the smell. Maybe not the most potent in the side tricep, but look at his chest. Look at his midsection. Morphs in perfectly with Phil the Gift Heath and his arms. Some of the best arms, like I said, so you got to kind of use him for most of these shots so you can see the arms. The legs, this time I decided to tone it down a little bit. I thought it was much more aesthetically pleasing. It went in with the rest of the physique. It is the quads and hamstrings, glutes included, of Phil Heath. And you can't really go wrong with that. Calves, again. I mean, Eric Frankhauser, he's going to have a PhD by the end of this one. Side tricep, maybe one of my favorites, to be honest. Maybe not the most freakish, things of that nature, but aesthetic nonetheless. And now, the first of the two back shots, and dare I say, these are my favorite shots. Look at this rear lat spread, lads and lattices. Holy old suffering. Nobody could touch this pose. Nobody. Come on. It is the bean, the back of the old head of the Gift, Phil Heath, because we needed his traps. His traps are unbeatable. They're unbelievable. Delts, arms as well. Forearms from the back. I mean, you can't go wrong. Couple of other guys that almost matched Phil or just as good. But I mean, you might as well use that. Match the traps. Make it more natural. And in terms of the lower lat insertions, hard to defeat Phil. To be honest, but this guy here, he did, and he does defeat Phil in that aspect. The upper half, no way. But when you morph the two together, Kai Green, man, oh man. Inches, we're talking inches of thick, raw meat in those lower lat insertions. So what a back. This is impressive. Very impressive. Lower half has to be just as impressive as the upper half. Glutes of Phil, the doctor, Phil Heath. I mean, as striated as anybody's, even the kings. The hammies, believe it or not, I don't want to call him a mid-carder. That's a wrestling term, but I mean, he's not a top 3 at the Olympia is Regan Grimes, but Regan Grimes, in terms of hamstrings, the guy's got pipes. Canadian pipes. That's a Canadian pipeline. But anyway, the quads from the rear, calves included, belong to Rubiel Mosquera, the only one that could actually defeat Eric Frankhauser in the calf department, only from the rear only. Other shots, Eric had him, but from the rear here, I mean, my soul. This Rubiel, not to be messed around with. So, the rear lat spread, dare I say, not only the most natural looking, the nicest looking shot, I think, that I'd built so far. Got a few more left. But maybe the most unbeatable as well. Until, of course, you see the rear double by. And then you realize just how good Phil the Gift Heath and Kai Green were no wonder nobody was touching them. Phil the Gift Heath again provides the bean, the cranium, chromius, domius, because we needed his traps, of course. Needed his arms as well, biceps, triceps, and forearms. Delts, we actually used good old Uncle Wolf, Uncle Dennis Wolf. He has the hugest, biggest delts from the rear. I'm here to tell you, bigger than anybody's ever. I'm telling you. Very impressive. Adds a little touch to this shot, I'm telling you. And the lats, I'm excited about this rear double bi. I don't think anybody's even going to come close. Kai Green, of course. And these guys all had great shots. But you combine them, and it makes all their shots look a little passé, shall we say. In the lower half, the exact same as the rear lat spread. Don't need to reiterate. So the rear double bi, maybe my favorite so far. Rear lat was good too. Oh, the biceps. I said they're Phil's. I threw Kai's biceps in there. Little explanation point on this pose. Abs and thigh. I had to use Sean Roden for this one. Had to use the guy. He's just too gosh darn pretty not to. But I didn't use all of his physique here, just his chest and his obliques, the structure of it. Sean Roden, may he rest in peace. Now the lats, Phil Heath and his arms, I couldn't pass up these big bulbous lats from 2011. He had crazy V-taper and condition. Maybe not the best abs, but my soul adds a little touch to this pose. Now the abs, the midsection. I'm sure you guys are going to come at me with pitchforks, for goodness sakes, because I replaced Sean Roden's midsection, which was great. But I feel Hattie Shupin just had that much more deeply etched cut abs. So I think a conglomeration of the three for the upper body, pretty difficult to defeat. Now the lower half actually went with Kai Green. He had some pretty deep cuts in the teardrops, the things of that nature, the feathering in the quads. Very impressive. So, yeah, Kai Green, and threw in Eric Frankhauser once again, one last time, for the abs and thigh shot. Maybe not my favorite pose, and that just goes to show you guys, flow, aesthetics mean a lot in the abs and thigh. So that just leaves one piece of business, the most muscular, maybe my favorite pose. Look at this. Nobody could touch this enhanced. Dexter the Blade Jackson, he is like, give me the juice and just superior muscles that would just outflex any specimen now, or dare I say, ever. Dexter's traps are like elephant proper. Elephant, thingamajiggers. Delts, I used Phil the Gift Heath along with his triceps, biceps. Of course, he's a horse. Now the chest, the big man's chest was provided by none other than Günther. And that shows you guys how good Günther, he really was. He had, officially, a big man's chest. Now, in terms of the midsection, I actually went with Phil Heath. Believe it or not. It was the only one that really morphed into there. I tried several aesthetically pleasing bodybuilders in the midsection, and it just did not jive. Lower half, I went with Rubiel again for the overall base, calves included. But with lack of cuts, once again, I elected not to use Jay Cutler this time, but Big Ramalama Ding Dong. Ramrod back in 2015. I mean, you could have just used Ramy with some more cut glutes and you could come close to this version. But realistically, this ultimate bodybuilder, this most muscular pose, I mean, from the calves to the quads, you think about how big Ramy's quads are and Rubiel's, nobody, and I mean nobody. Phil Heath with the arms with the wide clavicle of a Günther. This is unbeatable. Nobody could come close to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you may have guessed, I enjoyed setting this up. Took a little while. I enjoyed setting this up just as much, maybe even more than you guys did. Enjoyed watching it. So, yes, this is the ultimate bodybuilder. Aside from a couple of muscle groups, used Arnold's there, and I snuck one other muscle group in. You guys probably didn't take note of, but either which way leaves the door open for a ultimate 1980s, maybe an ultimate 1990s bodybuilder. This is, say, 2000 to present, minus Ronnie King Coleman, because as I say time and time again, he is basically the conglomeration, the best of all muscle groups, and look forward to maybe a comparison between the ultimate bodybuilder and the 2003, maybe, Ronnie King Coleman? Hard to say. Have a great one, guys.
Al, what are you doing? How about subscribing to my channel, please? And if you're bored, if you're in the mood, you can check out my latest video. It is a good one. And there's a whole bunch of videos in this playlist all stacked together. So, you can watch every pose. Another one over here too. 1, 2, 3, diddly-dee.